What's going on, guys? Jurassic here. Today we are learning how to set up OBS for recording. Alright, so go into the settings. In general, I recommend putting it on dark just so it's a little bit easier to look at, but you don't actually have to do that. That is going to be it for this tab. Head on over to the output tab and click on recording. The type, have it on standard. Recording path, this is wherever you want your video formats to go. So basically just pick a folder that you can easily find. That way all of your videos will be located in the exact same spot. For the format, I recommend using MKV. That way if your system happens to crash or like the game crashes or something and you lose some of your footage, this format seems to be a little bit more consistent in being able to recover lost footage. It's not foolproof, but it is a lot better than MP4. And you can also have OBS automatically remix it into an MP4 for you, so there's no reason not to do it. These are the audio tracks, so basically you can customize whatever audio tracks are used in your videos. I have them on separate tracks, that way, you know, game volume and your voice can be on different tracks at all times. For encoder, if you're using a NVIDIA, make sure you're on the NVIDIA NVEC H.264 new. Rescale output, I recommend not using this because it seems to be a little bit more burden on your system. For rate control, I use constant bitrate. And for the bitrate, I have 40,000 kilobytes per second. Basically, this setting will be good all the way up to 4K. So if you need to play around with it some to get it dialed in a little bit better for your system, that's fine. For the keyframe interval, I have it on 2. Preset is under performance, profile is high, psychovisual tuning is turned on, and max B-frames is 2. Now some of you might be saying, but my computer can't handle this. Well, OBS actually has a setting, which we will get to in a second, that'll sort of help you narrow down what is wrong with it and sort of fix it for you guys. If you come over here to the help, click on log files, upload current log file. Then it's going to pop up this link, click on analyze. It's going to bring you here, and basically OBS will literally tell you exactly what you need to do to try to fine tune it for your system. So there are some things to keep in mind, like if you are launching OBS, it should be in administrative mode just to have a little bit better performance. Now, under the audio tab, I recommend doing 320 bits. It just makes it sound a little bit more crisp, and pretty much every single site now allows 320, even Twitch. So there's no reason not to do it. But if you come down over into the advanced properties, make sure the processing priority is above normal. You're rendering in DirectX 11, 709 color space, and color range is partial. Now if you look right here, you can automatically remix to MP4, so this is where that MKV file comes into play. Basically, as soon as your video is done, it's going to have like a processing, and just wait a couple minutes and you should see the bar just skip to 99 and then it'll be 100%, you're good to go. So to have your audio set up correctly, you want to have your sample rate match whatever your microphone is putting out. For example, I'm using the Blue Yeti, which is a 48 kilohertz microphone, so that is where your sample rate will come from. Your channels, now this is going to be set to stereo, mostly for game volumes. If you're just doing vocal, like podcasts and stuff like that, you can set this down to mono. However, OBS is smart enough to downmix all of our audio sources to mono for us. I will show you guys in a second how to get your microphone so it stays in the exact same consistency. Because if your voice itself is in stereo, it sometimes has a higher left and right track and it'll sound a little bit weird inside of your ears. I personally use Voicemeeter Bandana for my audio setup. So I have my desktop audio as my main game volume, and I have my friend set up on desktop audio too, and my Voicemeeter microphone set up on the next audio track down below. I had this originally set up for Blue Yeti, but I disabled that. So decay rate, have it on fast, peak meter type, sample peak. This, you don't really need to change it. You can pretty much keep it wherever you want. For example, I had it on the Blue Yeti because I don't necessarily need to monitor it. You can do it through Voicemeeter Bandana anyways. So once we have all that set up, you want to come over to wherever your microphone is. For example, mine is the Voicemeeter. Let's just move this out of the way so we can see a little bit better. You can move the dockable windows, by the way. That's why I have everything down here. So if you left or right click on the cog icon, go into advanced audio properties, find wherever your microphone is and make sure mono is selected. This will make sure your voice stays consistent, and as you guys can see, my audio is actually staying consistently the exact same peak, whereas the pretzel music playing in the background is actually moving left and right a little bit differently. Last but not least, you want to make sure you have your video tab set up correctly. Your base canvas and your output resolution scale technically should be the same. If you need to downscale your resolution, this is where you would do it. Recommend not trying to upscale though, so if you're doing 1080p, try to keep it at 1080p. Don't have your base canvas at 1080p and have output as 4K because the footage is going to get a lot more choppy. However, if you want to drop down from like 1080p to 720p, this is where you would do it. For the downscale filter, I recommend using the Lankozos Sharpen Scaling 36 samples. And your common FPS values, if you're wanting 60 frames per second, this is where you set it. Now, one last tip before we go. You don't want a game capture and a display capture to be in the exact same scene, so you want to split them up into different scenes. For some reason, it messes with the architecture in OBS, so just have them in different scenes. Alright guys, that is going to be it for today. If you enjoyed, make sure you leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.